Gamera had been MIA for over 15 years, with his latest adventure being 2006 Gamera Rebirth. Despite some glimpses of a revival here and there, it was only this year that we got a brand new installment of this franchise, properly titled Gamera Rebirth. A 3D anime by the same studio behind the Godzilla anime trilogy and Pacific Rim the Black. To get this out of the way, this show is ugly, like really ugly. The CGI of the human characters looks bad enough, going for a half-baked, cel-shaded look with wonky and awkwardly stiff animation. And that's when there is movement. Characters often just stand on the background, completely moveless and with a blank expression on their faces, not even blinking. To top it all off, the design of human characters is absurdly basic and uninteresting. I don't think there's a single visually memorable character in this whole show. The monsters, on the other hand, actually do fare a lot better, being interesting reimaginings of classic Gamera monsters. Giron, Vira, Zigra, and Jigger, all of whom were absent from the franchise's most recent outings, are given the chance to shine here, thanks to the anime following more or less a Monster of the Week format. Of course, having enough room to stretch their legs would mean very little if their action scenes weren't well animated, which, surprisingly enough, given the quality of the animation everywhere else in the series, they are. Overall, seeing Gamera's Rogues Gallery reinvented for the modern world is, by a long margin, the best thing about this anime. Sadly, the same cannot be said about the titular turtle though. This Gamera isn't a very unique take on the character, being yet again a super weapon built by an ancient civilization with a magical link to a human kid, much like the hazy version of the character. Honestly, if it wasn't for the anime once again bringing back the focus on children as the protagonists, it would feel very much like an extension of the 19th trilogy of films. This is far from the worst thing in the world, of course, just makes it harder for this incarnation of the turtle to stand out. Not helping matters is how out of focus Gamera feels in this anime. He has a tendency of appearing very late in each episode, only to fight the monster of the week and then fly away. There is also little in the way of meaningful interactions between him and the child protagonist. They try by giving us a psychic connection between the main kid and the monster, but it is mostly inconsequential. This lack of focus on Gamera is partially a result of the anime's quirks in its format. The series has a semi-episodic nature. What do I mean by that? I mean that, despite having a very clear story arc with beginning, middle and end, most episodes follow a similar Monster of the Week formula, with the kid protagonist randomly stumbling upon a new monster and running away from it until Gamera appears. Then he gets his ass kicked for a while until suddenly deciding to use a decisive ability that instantly kills the villain. Every episode follows this format, even the ones from the second half of the series, when the overarching narrative was firmly settled and the whole thing presented like a cohesive whole. Which got me thinking, why didn't they just do a normal seasonal anime with half-hour episodes that are mostly self-contained but with a hint of an overarching narrative? Considering how the franchise has always been heavily geared towards a younger audience, including, in a way, these installments, it is surprising they didn't go this route for the Netflix anime. I know I'm entering wishful thinking area here, but I personally would have liked it better if they had turned down the ambition of the narrative to give us something more episodic and child-oriented. Sometimes a guy just needs to pretend he's 4 years old watching this moment adventure again, okay? But alas, I guess it is what it is. Something I feel like validated in complaining though is the anime's uninspired plot, revolving around a corporate conspiracy bent on using giant monsters to control the Earth's population growth. There is no way anyone, anywhere, still thinks this is an extremely cliché. As you can probably tell by now, the anime didn't break the mold like in the Heisei trilogy, nor personally blew me away like Gamera the Brave, despite being enjoyable in its own right and a significant leap in quality over Polygon Pictures' previous kaiju works. To be fair, I didn't really expect for any new Gamera installment to live up to the character's last outings, and just the fact this exists is a good enough start for me, as I hope this is not the end for the character and that a next entry, either a second season of the series or a brand new film, soon follows. I would be admittedly salty over this getting a second season and Singular Point not, but that's besides the point. So yeah, Gamera Rebirth. I'm glad it exists, but I could live without it. I know this is not an exciting conclusion, but this is not the most exciting anime around. Next time, I'll bring something more interesting.